If you believe that you deserve it, you know what's going to happen? Every decision you make for the next 12 months is going to be on making this date and this meeting with yourself a good one, where you can look back and go, dude, I freaking deserved it. Otherwise, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be the same old you. Action. All right. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to episode number 13. And let me tell you, I'm excited about this episode because I had a coaching call with a teammate and literally an hour before this. And it was such a good call. While I was doing this coaching call with her, I was writing down notes because I'm like, dude, this is like, I've got to talk about this. People need to hear this. This is what people need to, start to map out the next year. Because for me, inside of Tenacity, we've already started mapping out 2025. We started about a month ago. And I'm on the call with this lady who I know I think she watches the show. And so we're having a conversation about her numbers over the last 12 months. And I said, hey, so when I met with you a year ago, you were at 0. We had a whole plan. And now we've met now 12 months later. Where are we at? Anybody take a guess? Still at 0. And she goes, yeah, I almost didn't even want to set up a meeting with you because I know I haven't done anything that we talked about last year. And as I said, well, the beauty about business is you could always start over. Every day can be day one all over again. You can always give yourself a second chance. We could always make a decision today. That's the beauty about business. But you don't want to keep having day one be day one at 0. You know what I mean? Like I want to start day one again in 6 months and get on a run, but I'm not at 0. Like I'm kicking butt and I've made progress, right? And I said, but I believe in you, so let's talk about it. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to walk you through kind of the coaching conversation I had with her because I really like her a lot. I believe in her. I think she's great. And I think that, and what I reminded her of, and I hope she understood this when the call was over, is that her numbers today, her success today, her results today are not a reflection of her as an individual. Rather, they're a reflection of her effort and her focus over the last 12 months. But it doesn't define her. See, a lot of us, we've had a bad month or we've had a bad year, or we're in November right now. If you're watching this live, we're in November. And January to November, you had so many plans and you did not follow through on any of them. In fact, probably some of them you went backwards. Well, guess what? Your results today, I want you to know, they're not a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of you as a human, as a person, as an individual. Rather, it's a reflection of your effort, your focus, your commitment, the daily impact that you made on your calendar. Like it's a reflection of your skill set, possibly to some extent, but it's not a reflection of your potential. And it's not a reflection of what you can actually do and accomplish. So let's talk about the things I talked about for her. I said, at this exact moment, and I remember it very clearly, November 13th at 2:56 p.m., which is when I was having this conversation with her. I said, in 12 months, 365 days from today, it's going to be November 13th, 2:56 p.m. And I want you to remember this because we're having this conversation right now. And I asked her a question. I said, I want you, when we hang up the phone, to grab a piece of paper. And I want you to describe in paper, in depth, in detail, what exactly you want your life to look like on November 13th at 2:56 p.m., 2025. Literally 365 days from today, 5 minutes ago. What do you want your life to look like? And we went through that. We went through some very specific details. I said, I want you to pause for a second and really envision, I want my life to look like this when it comes to my health and fitness. I want my life to look like this when it comes to my spiritual relationship with Christ, my faith. I want my health or my life to look like this in my business. In my finances, I want my life to look like this. In my relationships, this is what I want my life to be like. In where I live, what I drive, where my kids go to school, what we do for fun. this is exactly what I want my life to look like. From a peace of mind standpoint, this is what I want my life to look like. In my clarity, in my thinking, in my mindset, in the things that I'm excited about, I want my life to look like this. I said literally, in 365 days at 2:56 p.m. on November 13th, 2025, I want you to write down today exactly in detail exactly what you want your life to look like in every single category. Why? I said you got to get excited. This isn't about daydreaming about your life. It's about being excited. It's about setting a tangible, clear vision and drawing it out on paper of exactly what I want life to look like. And then that vision's going to fuel you. Now, let me tell you why we started with this. Because she told me she always starts and stops everything. I said, so what have you done the last 12 months to give yourself a chance? What have you done the last 12 months to give yourself some sort of a chance? Something, a glimmer of hope. Even if it's a snowball's chance in hell, it's still a chance. What have you done to give yourself that this year for you to have had a good year? Have you done anything? What are your habits? What are the things you're doing every day that make it possible for you to have a result? There wasn't a lot, you guys. And some of you, if you're watching this, that might be true for you. There was not a lot of chance. To the point where she's like, I didn't even want to book the meeting because I don't want to waste your time, coach. And I said, well, that's what I'm here for. The fact that you're showing up means you want it. The fact that you're showing up means you deserve it. The fact that you booked a meeting means I'm going to get on here and give you my best. But what are you doing to make it work on your end? Because there's got to be something there. And there wasn't a lot. She said, I start doing this and then I stop. I said, well, who's coaching you? Who are you talking to? She said, oh, so-and-so. I said, when do you talk to him? How often? Oh, it never even crosses my mind, honestly. Like never. She never talks to him. And I said, so every single thing that you do it for like a week or a month and then you stop. And she's like, yeah, then I get on the meetings and I'm fired up and I'm excited again. And then I start and then I stop. And then I start and then I stop. And I asked her 3 times. I said, so what are you going to do different this year? What's going to make it different? She said, well, I'm going to commit and I'm going to hold myself accountable. And I said, for how long? For a week? For 2 weeks? For a month? But then you're going to stop again. What's going to be different? Well, no, this time I can't stop. I said, but you're going to stop. Unless something changes, you're going to stop. And so that's how we landed on the fact that I told her, I said, listen, you've got to be excited about the life you're building. It can't feel like it's something you have to do. Like you keep saying things like, well, I have to commit. I have to get focused. I have to. Everything is always, I have to. I said, everything being I have to means you're not going to. It's got to become, I want to. I can't wait to. I'm excited to. I said, you got to get excited. How are we going to get excited? Let me tell you how we're going to get excited. Grab a paper and you're going to mark out on paper faith, my relationships, my finances, my business, my health and fitness, my where I live, what I drive, where my kids go to school. I said, when are you going to take your kids on a dream vacation? When are you going to grab your kids and go, guess what? We're going on a dream trip. I said, when are you going to do that stuff? That's got to go down on your paper. I said, at 2:56 on November 13th, 2025, this is what my life is going to look like. And every single decision that I make from this moment forward for the next 12 months is going to be a decision that's made based on what? I said on paper, this is what my life was going to look like. And if the action doesn't align with this becoming my life, then I'm going to say no. I'm going to learn to say no. Because every decision for the next 12 months is going to go into making this paper of a life become reality. I said, you got to get excited. We talked about 2 things, and I want you guys to know these things. In order for these things to work, there's 2 steps. Step 1, you got to believe you deserve it. That's the first step to change. You know what? I believe I deserve better. I believe I deserve more. Before anything else, You have to genuinely, truly believe you're worthy of the life that you're trying to create. See that now, that's something I've never struggled with. I've always like, man, I want it. I deserve it. I'm going to go get it. But this young lady who I was having a conversation with doesn't have that. She didn't have that in her in that moment. And she said, well, no, I believe I deserve it. I said, obviously not. Why? Because if you believe you deserve it, you would have gotten it. You would have gone after it the last 12 months. So you believe that you like the idea of this life on paper, but you don't really believe you deserve it because you haven't been willing to go fight for it. You haven't been willing to go get it. You haven't done the work to give you this feeling of, no, I freaking deserve it. That feeling comes from hard work. That feeling comes from like, I'm busting my butt. I freaking deserve it. I expect it. And that's number 2. You got to start to expect it. You got to move from belief to expectation. So where does it start? It starts and I was walking her through this. I said, it starts with you believing you deserve it. And because I believe I deserve it, I start taking action to get it. And because I start taking action to get it, and I'm chasing it, and I wrote it out, and it's on paper, and it's specific, and I'm after it, I start to expect it to happen. That's the secret. I start to expect it. Listen, you guys, you know what's crazy is that every single one of us, you look at people winning in life that have the most fulfilled, joyful, excited, happy, authentic, just wonderful life. And you look at someone who's freaking miserable. Someone who's just like not happy. Life sucks. They feel like they're stuck. They're in a rut. You know what the difference is? Every one of us is a series and a big pile of our decisions. All of us, we're a big pile of decisions. If I look down and I go, where in the world did this thing come from, right? You want to know where it came from? Whatever I stuck in my mouth every time I opened my mouth over the last 12 months. If I look down and I go like, gosh, why am I so out of shape? I'm not happy. I get out of the mirror. I'm butt naked. I look in the mirror and I'm like, what in the hell happened? You want to know what that is? That's my decisions over the last 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. That's all it is. But the guy standing on the other side of the gym in the best freaking shape where I look and I go, oh my gosh, that's what I want to look like. You want to know what he is? He is a series and a pile of different decisions made over the last 3 months, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. That's it. That's literally it. Every time I open the fridge, what I choose to eat versus what he chooses to eat is different. When I wake up in the morning, if I decide to go to the gym versus whether he decides to go to the gym, he decides to go to the gym more than me. And when I get there, he puts in more work than me, and he pushes harder than me, and he sweats more than me. That's it. We're all a big pile of decisions. All of us. And by the way, some people start off a little bit further ahead. Let's pretend it's not a fitness thing. By the way, even fitness, there's so much of genetics that has to do with fitness. But let's use a different example. Let's talk about someone who grows up in a family of millionaires. Now, maybe they don't learn work ethic. Maybe you're going to apply all the cliches that society applies, that rich people are snobs and lazy and they don't know, they're entitled and their kids grow up to be spoiled brats, whatever. Maybe they start off with a little bit more options and opportunities than I did because I didn't grow up with rich parents. But you want to know something? Maybe I grew up with loving parents and you didn't. Maybe your parents were complete just pieces of crap. Maybe you never even met them. Maybe you were raised by somebody else. Maybe you grew up in a foster care system. Maybe you never had parents. Maybe your parents were wonderful and married forever or separated or whatever. It doesn't matter. Here's the deal. Because when we all become adults, guess what? Now, whatever happened before that, maybe it wasn't our decision. But the choices we make going forward as adults, they become our decisions. And the people who get their life on track and they just grab life around the neck and put it in the direction they want it, guess what? Those are people who take ownership of their decisions, where they go, you know what? Maybe I didn't have the best upbringing. Maybe I didn't have all the resources. Maybe I didn't start with a bunch of opportunities. Maybe I started from the bottom. Maybe I started worse than the bottom. But I'm an adult now, and there comes a point in every person's life where they go, you know what? I'm going to get my crap together and I'm going to get on track. Because my life today is a big pile of my decisions I've made up to this point. That's it. And as adults, we have the opportunity to make those decisions. And so guess what? Our decisions give us what we want. And you got to get momentum. That's the secret. You got to get momentum. Let's talk about momentum for a second, because, for example, there's a couple in business with me right now named Joey and Randy. Today at 3:58 on November 13, 2024, Joey and Randy are kicking butt. They're kicking butt. They're making more money than they've ever made in their life. They started from nothing with no experience in finance, no background in finance. They're kicking butt. They're killing it. You want to know something? 12 months ago, they weren't. 12 months ago, it wasn't sexy to be Joey and Randy in business. They were doing whatever. You know, they weren't smashing out of the park. Someone else was smashing out of the park. That's the beauty of business. Someone is always smashing out of the park. But today, as I record this, they're number one in my entire company, and they're killing it. Will they be on November 13th, 3:58 p.m., 2025? I don't know. But today they are. And you want to know something about them is they have momentum right now. Momentum is powerful. I was telling this young lady when I was coaching her, I said, this is why you got to draw out your ideal life 12 months from now to the minute. Because momentum starts right there on paper. When you start describing what you want your life to look like, when you start with your health and fitness and you go, you know what, in 12 months, I'm going to be in the best shape of my life. I'm going to be healthy because I want to live a long life. I want to be in great shape. I want to be healthy. You know, some people, they decide to get healthy because they have a moment that defines their life, right? Whether it's frustration or they go to the doctor. You know, for example, I know someone, I won't mention this person individually, but this person went to the doctor, was getting a normal checkup. The doctor said, hey, what's new with you? What's going on? How's life? The person said, oh, well, you know, I'm a grandparent. I just became a grandparent. My son just had a baby girl. This is a real story. There's someone I know very well. The doctor said, really? How old is she now? And he said, she's 8 weeks old. You know what the doctor said? I actually told this story to the lady I was coaching earlier. The doctor said, well, if you ever want to see your grandkid graduate high school, I suggest you get on a diet and go to the gym. You know that this individual would not get on a diet or go to the gym for like 15 years prior to that. That individual, I know to this day, dropped 27 pounds in 8 weeks. Just since being told that he'll never see his granddaughter graduate high school if he doesn't get in shape. It's crazy. You want to know what that was? A defining moment. That was a moment where like a switch flipped in that person's head of, I need to get my crap together. Here's what I want you to know. Momentum starts on paper. Momentum starts as a plan, a vision, a dream of what can become. That's where momentum begins. Momentum makes everyone look good. A winning team in sports has momentum. I was just telling Jay Justin right now before we started this episode, the Cleveland Cavaliers, as of today's recording date, are 12-0. They're undefeated in the NBA. He's like, oh, who's on the team? I went down the roster. I'm like, I mean, they're all good. They're the best in the world, but there's a bunch of no names on here. Like there ain't a bunch of Team USA's basketball team does not play for Cleveland. Like there's Donovan Mitchell, who's an all-star. And past that, there's a lot of guys on there that are going to make a name for themselves now, but they haven't necessarily done that yet. Like you're not going down the roster going, oh, no wonder they're 12-0. Like you're going down the roster going, how the hell are they 12-0? Like that's really what's happening. Momentum starts on paper. And momentum makes everyone look good. And momentum, by the way, makes it where things don't hurt. Things don't bother you when you have momentum. Things don't bother you. The other day, last week, I go to my nephew's football game. I think he's playing in like the 12 and under or something like that, 7th graders. So I go to the football game. It's a championship game, right? So I'm sitting in the stands watching, and they're doing good. It's a close game. It's a close game going into halftime, I think, if I remember correctly. They hit the third quarter, freaking blowout. Like, we got crushed. Crushed. Absolutely crushed. You know what I noticed? I never told this to anybody, like any of my family that I was there with, but I noticed something real quick. Once we started getting our freaking butts whooped, we started getting hurt on every play. Someone was hurt. Every freaking play. They had to stop in between almost every play for the last 6 minutes of the game because we had 2 or 3 guys, 7th grade boys, on the field crying somewhere in pain. And I looked, and I remember I looked to the other side of the field, and the other team's going crazy. The stands, the parents are going crazy. It's Pop Warner football, right? You want to know no one's hurt? Nobody's hurt on the winning team. Nobody. Every play, they're getting up, fired up, they're excited. On the losing team, the team we were there to cheer for, every damn play, someone's hurt. You want to know why? Because when you have momentum, nothing hurts. When you're winning, you don't feel anything. When you're winning, you're freaking fired up. You're in peak state. Nothing hurts. You're not sensitive when you're winning. When you start losing, though, oh man, you feel everything. When you have no momentum, when it rains, it pours. You feel everything. Every play is an injury. Right? That's how we do life, you guys. That's how we do life. When you got momentum makes you look so good. And people have momentum every day in their business, in their fitness, in their relationships, in their faith with Christ. Like in every area of your life, you can have momentum. But you know where momentum starts? On paper. So, guess what I told her at the end of the call? I said, listen, you're going to hang up, you're going to grab a piece of paper, and you're going to start writing. At 2:56 on November 13th, 2025, this is what my life's going to look like. And she's like, okay, sounds good. And I said, no, hold on. I said, we're not done. I want you to pull your phone out right now, and you're going to set a date with yourself at 2:56 with an alarm on November 13th, 2025. You're going to set a date with yourself right now. She's like, really? I said, yeah, really. What do you mean, really? Pull your phone out right now. She pulled her phone out. She set a date, November 13th, 2:56 p.m., 2025, with an alarm. It's a date with yourself. And I said, you know what you're going to do? You're going to have a meeting with you. In exactly 365 days, 20 minutes ago, you're going to have a meeting with you. And you're going to look at this paper. And you want to know what you're going to discover that day? Whether or not you believed you deserved it or not today. I said, because if you believe that you deserve it, you know what's going to happen? Every decision you make for the next 12 months is going to be on making this date and this meeting with yourself a good one. Where you can look back and go, dude, I freaking deserved it. Otherwise, here's what I told her. I said, otherwise, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be the same old you who starts and stops everything. After a month, after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, I don't know. You're going to be the same old you. But let me tell you what scares me. I said, because you and I are going to meet. We're going to meet in 12 months. And we're going to look at it. We're going to look at what you wrote, and we're going to look at your life, and we're going to look at whether or not you designed it. I said, you know what's scary? I said, let me tell you what's scary. If you don't change the way you operate, you're going to be going through life like normal on this day, at this time, and I don't know what you're going to be doing, but an alarm's going to go off on your phone. And you're going to look down, and if you didn't commit, you know what you're going to do? You're going to go, oh, shit. We'll probably bleep that out. But you're going to go, shit. I freaking did it again. I said, and that's the scariest part, dude, because in 12 months, life continues. Time continues whether you commit or not. But remember, we are a big pile of our decisions. And the people who have everything they want and the life that they want, and life is great and life is freaking awesome. You want to know what it is? They make better decisions and they have momentum. And momentum starts on paper. It starts in your head before it ever reveals itself in your life. And momentum is not a magical thing. You can create it from scratch. It's not magical. It doesn't just show up to the people who deserve it. It is intentional. Momentum is intentional, but it creates magical results. And if you really commit, you could get everything you want. All right, you guys, episode 13 is done. I appreciate you. Thank you for all the shares, all the love, all the support. Holidays are coming up. We'll say happy holidays. We'll start saying it now. But holidays are coming up. It's the best time of the year. This is the time of the year where you could really lock in. It's my favorite time of the year. October, November, December is my favorite quarter of the year. This is the time of the year where you could lock in. You could better yourself. It doesn't have to be New Year's for you to better yourself. It doesn't have to be the new year for you to make a new you. You could start now and go into the year better than you've ever been. But we appreciate all the love and support, and we will see you soon.